Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 14, episode number 3, Life's a Beach. So since we didn't do this last week, I thought we would do it this week. I have the girls' taglines. So we're just going to go through them. Let me know your thoughts. The first one was Garcelle. I've been in the game too long to play by someone else's rules. I like it.
I don't know who else is trying to get her to play by their rules, but
Yeah.
okay.
Sutton was, in honor of my fine Southern manners. I honor my fine Southern manners by putting you in your place. No. Bozma's was introducing the greatest product I've ever marketed. Myself.
That's
I
good.
like it.
Yep.
Erika Jane. Beverly Hills money buys a lot, but my independence is priceless. I like that one. Kyle. These hills have eyes and they're all staring at me.
No, they're not.
Dorit.
They're really, really not, Kyle.
I know. Dorit. I might look like a doll, but don't wind me up.
Well, I'll tell you what. I would have been like, huh, before the season started, but she is clearly wound up. So
She
I
is
get it.
wound up. Yeah, she's definitely
and
wound
I'm
up.
going to say it. I like this wound up Dorit because I'm not a big fan of Kyle. So I'm glad. I like to see this.
Yeah, she's definitely wound up. So we start out with Garcelle and her son, Jade. He has just signed a contract with LA Models.
Real quick, Jennifer Tilly doesn't have a tagline?
No,
She
she's a
considered
friend.
a friend of?
She's a friend of.
Well, I thought she was an official housewife now.
Nope, she's a friend of. And by the way, guess how old Jennifer Tilly is?
I think she's younger than me, isn't she?
No.
How old is she?
67.
What?
60.
She's younger than me. Damn, she's had good work done.
Right?
I never in a million years. I didn't even think she was 50. Is that crazy? Maybe
I know.
that's crazy. I
Yes.
never would have guessed 67, I'll tell you that.
No. I mean, I think, how old's Kathy Hilton? Kathy Hilton's in her 60s. No, I wouldn't be too sure of that. Let's see.
Well, yeah, because Kyle's the youngest, right?
How old is Kathy Hilton?
I would have loved it
65.
if Siri would have said, who cares?
60. I was Google. I was asking. 65. Kathy Hilton is. So actually, Jennifer Tilly is the oldest housewife.
I really thought she was an official housewife this year, but
Friend
she
of
was
is
not.
fine. I think
For her, yeah. She's got Simpson money.
I know. We find that out. That's crazy.
Amazing. God bless her.
That's crazy. So Garcelle's with her son, Jade, and he just signs the contract with LA Models.
God bless him.
Absolutely. He is a handsome young man.
Yeah, both her boys are.
Yep. Erika gets her new Porsche. Okay, good for her.
Yeah, that was a nice car.
Yeah. We see Kyle's talking to her daughter, Porsche, about a trip that Mo's going on and if he's going to be going alone or not. Okay.
None of your business, Kyle.
Yeah.
You wanted to separate, remember?
Yeah.
She's the one who wanted to separate. None of your business. And it's been 2 years.
Okay. You have strong feelings about this,
I really do. I'm just tired that we're still talking about her separation that she wanted 2 years ago. And she's still confused. You might want to go talk to somebody about that.
Okay. Kathy has planned the weekend getaway. They're going to go to the Oceanside resort because she knows that Kyle and Dorit are having a rough time. And she thinks that, a girls' weekend might help bring them closer together. I know that you are not a fan of Kathy's, but the whole delivering the personalized suitcase in the vintage Rolls-Royce with her assistant and her driving down the road, eating her banana with her. But I was laughing hysterical.
I loved it, quite honestly.
You did?
What I thought was hysterical was when she said that she was doing it to save on the cost of shipping.
Yes, absolutely. I laughed at that as well.
She's worried about that.
But honestly, I think that's how she is.
She probably is.
Yeah. I think I just thought the whole thing. Yeah, I thought it was hysterical. So the first stop, they go to Bo's house, and she lives in Hancock Park. Her assistant answers the door, and Kathy goes in with the suitcase, and Bo's is like, is she moving in? Like, what is going on?
Obviously, these women knew she was coming. Or how else would she know to show up to Jade's photo shoot to steal his thunder?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh, and then Kyle's like, oh, what is that? You have a gate at your front door, Kyle. You know exactly who's coming in.
Well, she's out there beeping her horn. We also saw her drop it off at Dorit's house, and her daughter was there. Kyle is worried about how things will be with her and Dorit, and I get that because they're not really in a good place, and they left it off. Yeah, they left it off pretty good. Then we see Mo stops by Kyle's house. I thought that whole interaction was a little strange. She painted the bathroom. She shows him she painted the bathroom. She asks him how he likes it. He's like, I love it. I love it. Like everything she did, he's like, I love it.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
In her confessional, she couldn't answer whether or not she wants to get back together with him, right? Why didn't she ask him about switching out the picture to another woman?
Well, I mean, I don't know why
whole discussion, and it was so upsetting to her that they had to have a pizza party in their pajamas for her last week. But now he's right there in the house. You're probably sitting in the room where the picture was, talking to him, and she doesn't bring it up at all?
Well, the picture was in the office. And they weren't sitting in the office.
They were sitting somewhere.
Yeah. You were so angry with Kyle.
I just don't understand why. Like, why is this still her thing? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I just think, you know what? I think Kyle's just a big phony baloney.
Okay.
I really do.
I'm going to agree to disagree. I think that what we're seeing is what's really happening. I think that her and Mo are separated. And I think that they still have a working relationship. They still talk to each other.
You don't think after 2 years she should know whether or not she wants to get back together with him?
I think she does know, but she just wasn't ready to talk about it on TV, which I can understand. I mean, it's kind of a personal thing. I mean, she did let us know that, you know, she was surprised that he got a 6-month lease. And then once he did get the 6-month lease, she was even more surprised that he didn't stage the apartment, that he bought furniture, that feels like more of a permanent thing. So I think just her telling us those bits of information, it would lead me to believe that she was maybe thinking they would get back together, but his actions may be saying something different. So she doesn't maybe feel comfortable.
Right. So maybe she does and he doesn't. So that's why she's not saying it.
Right. Or maybe she thought she was in a different place because obviously that's what she thought. Because she was surprised by his actions, even though she is the one who asked for it, that they could have some time apart. I mean, they did try doing it while living under the same roof, which that's kind of awkward.
I mean, the house is big enough, really. They could just both be there and not even know.
The house is big enough. Yeah. The house is big enough. And I'm sure that's kind of how she felt, too. Like, the house is big enough, but for whatever reason, they chose to do for him to move out. And then you could even see, like, she's like, do you want to take the dog? I don't remember the dog's name, but do you want to take the dog with you? And he's like, nope. And then she's like, well, how is it for you? Like, you're like in your apartment with no responsibilities. You don't have to worry about the gates, the lights, like all this other stuff.
Yeah. They have a lot of dogs too.
They do have a lot. I think they have like 5, don't they?
Yeah, they have a lot of dogs.
Yeah, they do have a lot of dogs. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So he did. He up and left. And now, he probably didn't have a lot of responsibility when he was there. I'm sure she took care of everything anyway. And now he has even less responsibility.
Right. And I think that that's kind of her point, maybe. And I mean, even last week she had mentioned it. Like, she doesn't know how to turn on the remote. She doesn't know how to do she doesn't know how to do the things that he did do.
Right.
Yeah. She was in charge of everything. But if she needed help with something, he was there. And now he's not. So I personally think she's being real. I think she's showing us what is going on in her life, that they are still speaking. I think she has one idea of how it is, and I think he has another idea of how it is.
I think 2 years is a long time to be carrying on like this.
I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, they were married 39 years. They have a long history. Like, I don't think you want to just throw that out. I think you want to try and exhaust everything. And maybe that's why he did move out. Maybe being under the same roof, she wasn't getting the feeling of how much she missed him because he was still there.
Right.
So maybe now, he's made the 6-month commitment. He signed a 6-month lease. Maybe now things will change. I don't know. I mean, I personally don't think it's fake. That's my opinion.
I think she's fake.
Well, I just said that you don't like her.
Yeah, I just think she's, it's not, I mean, I don't dislike, I just think she's very fake. I think that she has become this has become like an acting job to her, part of it.
Okay. I did think it was a little bit odd when she was talking to Mo and she said that PK still text memes to her. That's weird.
I guess maybe they just always had that relationship. Like Frank Vesci and I will text each other funny shit, you know?
That I get. But
Yeah.
if Frank Vesci and Liz Vesci were separated, and you would not still be texting Frank Vesci. Oh, I don't know why we're saying their first and last names. I don't know that they
No,
want us to be doing this.
they don't
Okay.
care.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm
this
sorry,
isn't the
Vesci.
first time I've said it. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess it would change. It would change.
Right? I mean, listen, I don't think that if I was friends, if Bill and I separated and Bill all of a sudden was always texting you, right? You guys were always texting each other, and then we're separated and you and Bill are still texting, that would be weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you got to pick a side, and you got to pick the side of the person who you're closest to.
But she's not going to pick Dorit's side at this point. She's saying they
then-
weren't even that
but
close of friends.
I know, but don't engage then with it. Just don't engage.
I agree with you. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I just think she's not going to pick Dorit's side at this point.
No, she's not. We watch all the ladies packing up, getting ready for their trip. Erika
Jennifer Tilly
FaceTimes.
brings holy water.
Jennifer Tilly is so funny. She really is funny. I'm so glad she's on this cast now,
Me
even
too.
if it's just a friend. I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah.
We see they all arrive at Kathy's house, and her assistant Carol is there, getting everything ready for the breakfast. And Carl, the butler, is there. And he meets all the ladies with champagne, and their breakfast is in the kitchen waiting for them. Like, she does put on a first-class trip.
Yeah, for sure. Did we already see the examples of Kyle icing Dorit out, or did we not get there yet?
We didn't get there yet.
Okay.
We didn't get there yet. Then Kyle arrives with her Birkin inside of her Birkin.
Yeah.
And the two Birkins are worth $78,000. And Erika asks Dorit, like, how she's doing today. And Dorit's like, well, it's got off to a rough start. Her kids were upset that she was leaving. And, PK just told her that they're not going to be talking 5 times a day anymore. Her mom's not around. Normally her mom is there when she goes out of town.
Who were they with? The nanny?
Yeah, she had to get a nanny, which I can understand that.
Well,
that would
I can
be
understand
horrible.
the kids being upset too. Like,
Yeah.
maybe if her mom were there. And wait, Erika asked though, why weren't they with PK?
Because they don't know they're separated. And PK has his own place.
But couldn't
PK could have went to her house. Absolutely.
Exactly. Couldn't PK have come and been like, oh, I'm home from work that I was
100
away for, and now mommy's going to
100%.
go away, and I'm going to stay.
100%.
Yeah. That
I mean,
didn't-
I don't know what their situation is. I don't,
Yeah. I feel like he could have done that. So the kids weren't upset.
Yeah.
Especially if he's in the same town. Like if he were legit in England
London.
on business
Right.
or London, on business, okay. But if he's in the same town at a hotel, just go over there and pretend like he came home from your trip early.
Actually, he's not in a hotel anymore because that's what Mo had said. He's all settled in his place. He's got
Right.
an apartment now. And then Jennifer shows up with her Louis Vuitton boat purse.
Not my gig, but impressive to the others.
Yeah, $33,000. Erika Jane spotted that right away.
Could you imagine having that much money that you're spending 30 grand on a bag?
I can't imagine it, but I'm here for it.
Me too. I'm just saying.
I certainly
Like,
cannot
that's a
imagine
car
it.
for me. That's a car.
Yeah.
That's a vehicle for me to get my ass to and from work.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
these women are walking around with it on their hands, on their arms.
So then they all get on the bus, getting ready to leave for their trip. And Erika asks, who's the biggest star that you ever went on a date with? And Garcelle drops Eddie Murphy, Sean Penn, and Will Smith.
Sean Penn was surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Not Eddie Murphy because they did that movie together and we all know about Will Smith. But Sean Penn was surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising. And Erika in her confessional said if she was with all these men, why did she marry the one that she did? That was shady.
It was definitely shady, but the guy obviously had money. I mean, he worked for a production company, right? Like he was.
I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did.
He was in movie production, I believe.
Then Garcelle says, if you slept with, has anyone slept with a man who is now gay? Take a sip. They pretty much all sip.
Sip.
Jennifer says, if you slept with a man with a crooked dick, take a sip.
That's a good one.
And then Garcelle says, if you slept with a man with a little dick, take a sip.
Well, that was horrible.
I know. So then the ladies arrive at the Oceanside resort. and there's a guy outside that they say looks like Tom Cruise, but it says it's not Tom Cruise. And then they take a picture with the guy who looks like Tom Cruise. What was that about?
Exactly like Tom Cruise.
He did. He really did.
I think I have it written down. Is that really Tom Cruise?
I mean,
I feel like if it were, they would have made a bigger deal out of it.
no, they actually put it up on the screen. This is not Tom Cruise.
They did. I missed that.
Yes.
That guy looked exactly like Tom Cruise.
He looked like a young Tom Cruise. Yes, he did.
From the movie.
Yes. That was weird, right?
Yes, it was.
And I wonder, like, did she plan that? She must have.
Yeah. I mean, it was where the movie was filmed. I'm sure that's like an option when you book that place. That's what they said when they pulled up.
All right. Well, that's, yeah.
It's probably an added thing, you know?
Yeah. So then they check into their rooms, and then the first adventure they're going to do is the beach picnic. And they arrive to the beach, and Kathy has this setup with all the tables and the chairs and the flowers, the tents, the servers. I mean, this is, again, a 5-star event on the beach.
Yeah.
You have to
and then
admit,
she thought
that's
a
impressive.
surfer was a whale. Yeah.
She makes me laugh. And then Dorit's talking to Boz at the end of the table, and she's telling her about, PK in the apartment and what's going on with her kids. And the other side of the table is like, why is she down there like talking about all this and not involving everybody? And then even afterwards, they're like, well, we want to get to know Bose also. Like, why is, Dorit
They feel like Dorit's dominating her time.
Right, which I thought that was a little middle school.
It's very middle school.
Right?
However, I have seen it online, and I don't know. I don't want to believe that this has anything to do with it, but she has had this ongoing thing with Garcelle, and Garcelle hasn't done it on purpose, but I'm just saying it's been alluded that she is not very understanding of, things that she says and does, how it could be perceived by a Black woman.
Right.
So people are saying online, like, is she coming on so strong with Bose because she wants that connection with a woman of color? I don't know if that's true or not. I think she just felt a connection with her because the first time they met, they had so many similarities. But
I think that's it. I think that's really reaching. I
completely agree with you. I think it's reaching as well.
I think it's definitely reaching.
I do too.
Speaking of that, well, before I forget, I saw Bethany Frankel knew Bose from many, many, many years ago. And she ran into her on the plane, and she congratulated her for joining the cast. And then I was listening to Melissa's podcast today with Margaret.
I started it. I didn't finish it.
Margaret said that Marge Sr. she worked at PepsiCo with her, knows Bose.
Oh my gosh, what a small world.
Yep, she worked at PepsiCo with her. So I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I started the Melissa podcast today. I just haven't finished it.
Then Jennifer Tilly starts telling us about her ex-husband, Howie's Sam Simon, and he was the creator of The Simpsons. And they were married. They were together for 7 years, and they were married for 7 years, together for 10, and then they got divorced. And in her divorce, she got a piece of The Simpsons. Never in a million years expecting it to go on and on and on and on.
God bless her.
And he actually had passed in 2015, so she's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had passed in 2015, so she's still making all that money, and good for her.
Good for her is right. Damn.
And then we see the ladies are playing this game on the beach where Kathy gives them paddles of her face, and they're going to be doing a relay race. I mean, Kathy is really out there.
The Duck Duck Goose sent me.
Oh, yeah, the Duck Duck Goose.
Why was Dorit falling so much?
Yeah, that was strange, right? I mean, she fell in both events.
I mean, I know she's very competitive, but Kathy could have told them to wear more appropriate shoes.
Well, you're on the beach. You shouldn't be wearing shoes at all. You should be barefoot.
Did they take their shoes off? I thought maybe Dorit kept falling because she had improper shoes on while running on the beach.
I don't think she definitely did not have her shoes on. She said her pants were too long.
Okay.
Remember, she said she tripped over her pants because they were too long.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Duck Duck Goose and the relay race were the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
Yeah, the Duck Duck Goose. I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally haven't played that since
I know. And then Kyle says Kathy's stuck in a nursery rhyme book. And then Kathy in her confessional says she'd rather be in a nursery rhyme than in her real
Clearly,
life.
they've had this conversation before. They've talked about this before.
I'm like, oh, goodness. And then the ladies are all going to dinner together, and they're going to have a 5-course meal.
I love Garcelle in a short dress. Garcelle looks so good in a short dress. Like, that's my style. I love that on.
I don't think I've ever seen Garcelle not look good. I love everything that she wears.
Agreed. She just really pulls off the short dress well, though, because she's got the long legs and I don't know.
So then they're going to make a toast, and they ask Kyle to make the toast. And she toasts to her beautiful sister, Kathy, and thank you so much for bringing us all together. And nothing goes unnoticed. And thank you for making everything so nice. I was like, oh my gosh, is like Dorinda there? Because that was like, I made it nice.
Exactly.
And then after the toast, Kyle says to Dorit, I know, that we need to speak, that you and I need to have a conversation, and I don't want there to be awkwardness. And Dorit says, I think it's important that we address the elephant in the room. She wants to do it right now.
Yeah, I didn't think that was appropriate.
I did not either. I really didn't.
No.
And then Dorit is ready to tell Kyle exactly how she feels. She said she went back and looked at the BravoCon, which is what Kyle told her made her upset, and she showed it to Erika, and she didn't think that it was a big deal. And Erika agreed. And then Kyle brings up that there was a guy in the audience that asked her about Teddy, why she's always trying to thrust her into these girls' lives, and Dorit's friends with Teddy and didn't stick up for her.
That was reaching. That was a load of bullshit.
I agree with that. I think both things that Kyle said were reaching. I don't think that either one of them was a reason to be that mad at Dorit. I don't.
Absolutely not. Dorit doesn't need to stick up for Teddy.
No.
And it doesn't matter if it's an unpopular or popular decision. She's not on the show anymore. She's irrelevant. Teddy is irrelevant in Dorit's life. She might be her friend, but when you're on a stage at BravoCon, she doesn't have to answer that question. Or
no,
the question wasn't even posed to her. She doesn't have to render an opinion.
Right, exactly.
That was ridiculous.
I did think that was ridiculous too. I did too.
Yeah.
But then she goes on to say, the final thing for me is when you showed everyone my text message before the reunion. And then Dorit says, listen, I would never tell anyone something you confided in me. And Kyle says, yeah, I don't think that you're that person. And then Dorit said, well, then why on every podcast and every show that you're on, all you do is talk about how we're not really friends?
And she does.
And she's like, you're painting me as that girl. And that's when Kyle says to her, Dorit, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, which was, whoa. And then, can you let me talk? And Dorit says, it's okay, Kyle. It's time for you to effing listen.
Yeah, because quite honestly, Kyle's saying a bunch of bullshit. She's saying a bunch of nonsense. Nobody's going to think that that's a reason for her to be angry at Dorit. Nobody in their right mind.
No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. She is saying a bunch of BS. Did you watch What Happens Live?
Who was on it?
Okay, so we're going to do, so it was Kathy Hilton and it was Brynn.
I was definitely not watching.
Okay, so I'm going to go over the stuff that involves Kathy Hilton now, and then I'll go over the Brynn stuff when we do New York. So Kathy Hilton's there, and behind the bar is her daughter, Nikki Hilton. And Kathy has this cute little purse on her lap, and she's got a beautiful dress on, and Nikki has a beautiful dress on. And Andy's like, did you guys go someplace before you came here? Like, why are you dressed like this? And, Nikki's like, oh, well, it's for the holidays because her dress was red and whatever. And then he asked Kathy that, and she's like, oh, Nikki designed these dresses for us. And they're part of her. They're a part of her collection. And Andy's like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like, I didn't even expect this to be, a plug.
Yes, you did, Andy, but okay. We'll pretend like you didn't.
So one of the questions, how he does the questions, whose side are you on, Dorit or Kyle's? The audience questions. So the audience, 69% were on Dorit's side. And then he asked Kathy, and Kathy was like, she wasn't going to answer. And Nikki was there kind of to make sure that she didn't answer. She's like, of course I love my sister. I'm on my sister's side, but and she does need to play it this way. I agree.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. I disagree with that because could you imagine the wrath Kyle would get from her if Kyle did not say, I am on my sister's side? Kathy would not speak to her for a year. She wouldn't be invited to the Christmas party, the Christmas pajama party. She wouldn't be invited to any weddings. She wouldn't be invited to any holidays. She would be iced out if she did not answer her sister, Kathy. So no, I disagree with that. Kathy should have, and I don't think Kyle's right. Kathy should have said she was on Kyle's side.
Well, she didn't.
Read to Kathy.
Friend and castmate?
Right, but don't you agree that she would ice Kyle out if Kyle didn't say Kathy?
I think that, listen, I think they have a very complicated relationship, Kyle and Kathy, and we know that from watching them all these years, right? I think that Kyle thinks before she speaks, unlike Kathy normally. Normally, Kathy just says whatever she thinks. It comes out of her mouth.
Because she can. Because
well,
if she says something that she doesn't want out there, she can pay people off so it doesn't get out there, like the van ride with Lisa Rinna. So Kathy can say whatever she wants.
Well, I think she's learning. I think she's learning not to say whatever she wants. And I think she's learning to not have opinions on things that really don't affect her. Because then there was another question about which couple is more likely to get back together, Kyle and Mo or Dorit and PK. That was an audience question. So he didn't ask Kathy that question. 66% of the audience said Kyle and Mo. But he said, he said, do you have to hold back to Kathy? Do you have to hold back on what you say about Mo because you can see that Kyle and Mo are still close? And Kathy's like, no, I don't. Like, I like Mo. Like, we do get along. I don't have to not say anything to him. Which that I actually think. Then he said, well, when was the last time you saw him? And she said, oh, in Aspen. And I don't know if she was referring to Aspen with Rinna or like they were recently in Aspen. Like, I have no idea.
Right. It could have been with Rinna, yeah.
And then she went on to say that because he's asking her something about the show. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she's like, I only watch the clips. And that's true. She's always said that. She doesn't watch the show. She only watches the clips.
Yeah.
And then they played a game, What's in Kathy's Bag? Because this is the third time
they play that
this.
Every time she's on, right?
Yeah, so this is the third time they've played this game, and it was her and Bryn. So Bryn has glasses on. Kathy's supposed to take something out of her bag and describe it to Bryn, and she's supposed to guess it, and she's got 60 seconds. So the first thing she takes out of her bag is flowers, like fresh flowers. So she picks them up, and she like puts them, she's like, oh, they smell nice, and Bryn's like trying to guess, and Andy's like, well, you have to describe them, and she's like, oh, well, they're flowers. And he's like, oh, you don't tell her what they are. So it's
interesting that she had fresh flowers. Like, how big was this bag?
It was a big bag. It was a big canvas tote bag. It wasn't the little handbag that was on her lap.
Okay.
And then the next thing she pulls out is she's like describing it. She's like, well, it's fluffy, it's feathers, it's like a snake, and they can't get it. So then time is up. It's a boa. It's a feather boa. So time is up. And then she takes something else out of her bag. And Andy's like, I want you to get one. Like, you have to get something. So she's like, all right, well, it's what are these things in there? She's looking at it like, what are they? And then she goes, okay, there's snow in glass. And Bryn's like, oh, a snow globe. And yeah, finally. But the first thing
snow globe in her bag?
She had a snow globe in her bag, yeah. I mean, they were just props for this game, obviously.
Okay. I thought she really the stuff in her bag.
I mean, I don't think she's walking around with a feather boa or fresh flowers or a snow globe.
Kind of could see the fresh flowers, and I don't know why. But a snow globe is pretty random.
Yes. The whole thing was just funny. It just was so funny.
It is funny, yeah.
Because it's a simple game, and she just couldn't get it. And then one of the callers asks Kathy if she was really a dental hygienist, because I guess at one point she said she was a dental hygienist. And Andy's like, well, were you really? She's like, yes, when I was a wee little girl. And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, how old? And she's like, well, I would sit them down in my toilet, and then I would and he's like, how old were you? And she's like, I don't know, like 12 or 13. He's like, so you were not. She goes, well, I thought I was. I thought I was a dental hygienist.
I think Kyle mentioned this at one point, that she would like work on teeth as a little girl.
Yes.
That house must have been wild.
That's what I'm saying.
Growing up.
This is hysterical. And Nikki's over at the bar like, gosh, like this is who she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very funny. I know you don't like her, but it was funny. Oh, and then she got to do the mazel of the day. He gave her the mazel of the day and the jackhole. And first she's like, the what? All right, Mazel of the day. Okay. I'm happy to be here. Okay. And then she's like,
So she gave herself the mazel of the day?
she did. She did. And then the jackhole, and she wasn't calling it jackhole. She was calling it something else. And she's like, I'm upset about the sales. And Andy's like, what? Yeah, well, I was just in Europe and we were going shopping and there's no duty free and the sales weren't any good. She's like, okay.
So the European sales get the jackhole of the day.
They weren't good enough for her. They weren't good enough deals.
Step up your game, European shops, boutiques, wherever she was going.
Yeah, so
you know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the Watch What Happens Live with Kathy. Again, I thought it was funny. I think
she can be very entertaining and funny. Like, I do agree that delivering the invitations that way was great TV. I do agree with that. But
she reminds me of Lucy. She reminds me of Lucille Ball. Like,
but I think she's smarter than she makes it seem. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. And, I truly believe that she said everything Lisa Rinna said she said. There's no reason for Lisa Rinna to lie about that, especially because Kyle was her friend. And I stand by what I said. If the shoes were on, whatever, if the seats were flipped and Kyle was asked, whose side are you on, your sister's or anybody else in this world except her other sister, if she didn't say Kathy, that would have been a big problem for Kyle.
Okay.
So I don't think Kathy did the right thing there. She should have said her sister, and I don't think her sister was right, but she still should have said she was team Kyle.
I'm curious to see how this all plays out. I mean, I do think that Kyle is wrong in this whole Kyle Dorit situation.
Yeah.
As did most of the audience, based on their answers. They think Kyle's wrong.
Yeah.
I would like to see Kyle and Mo get back together. I really would. I would.
I wonder why Kyle is so angry at Dorit, but making up these. I mean, it can't really be the reasons she's saying, because they're just ridiculous.
I don't know. That I don't know.
Did you see that Teddy said she's living with Kyle now?
Yes, she is. She said that on the podcast with Erika.
I thought that was interesting because I'm assuming Edwin and her children are in Orange County, and now she's in Beverly Hills. That's like an hour and a half away. So did she move an hour and a half away from her kids?
Maybe. I'm just surprised she moved out.
Me too.
That's what I was surprised about because, I have seen Edwin posting all this stuff on Instagram with his kids.
And he and Eddie did another podcast,
Oh, I didn't know that. Because
Yeah,
I haven't even been
didn't listen
to them.
to it, but I went on to look up, I went to look up something and I saw, now I'm not going to say it. I could swear they just did one, 2 Eds. Well,
you don't say
sorry, everyone. Oh, wait, November 27th. The Eds.
What was it about? What was it about? Does it say?
Eddie and
Okay.
Edwin share their favorite memories of celebrating the holidays. November 27th. So that was the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay,
So
good
I'm
for them.
happy to see. I might actually listen to it just to see if he mentions anything, Edwin.
I would listen to it too.
I mean, listen, I don't feel bad for the guy. He obviously cheated on her before. So,
No, absolutely.
I feel bad for the other guy's wife. That's who I feel bad for.
Yes, I
I don't
agree.
feel bad for her because she did it. I don't feel bad for the guy she cheated with. And I certainly don't feel bad for Edwin because it's, she's mentioned before that he's been unfaithful or he's hurt her in that way. So, but that other woman I feel bad for. Wasn't she pregnant?
Yes.
That's really, really shitty.
No, 100%. That is shitty. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. All right. I'll try not to be so angry when I talk about Kyle. It's
right.
getting like Teresa, isn't it?
It is getting like Teresa.
It's borderline. I got to chill.
You do have to chill. I was going to tell you, I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up on this episode, but you might as well since you're already angry.
Wait, I'm going to have to get some chamomile tea in me. I
was listening to Teresa on Give Them Lala podcast.
Lala had her on?
Lala had her on, and I know you won't listen to it, but Lala, gave her mad props. Because, she was the original on New Jersey and she's still there. And I honestly, I didn't hate it. And I was thinking about it. Like, I never felt as strongly about Teresa as you did. I actually liked her in the beginning. I did like her.
I liked her in the beginning.
I don't dislike her as much as you do. There are some things that she talked about and things that she said that first of all, one of the things that surprised me, I know we said that Joe's family, her ex's family, is not close to her. one of the things she talked about is her daughter still makes sauce with them because she doesn't make sauce anymore. And actually her ex-mother-in-law sent over sauce for her too. So they do have a relationship with all the cousins on that side. And there's like, I don't even know. They're all girls, but all the girls have a relationship. And she said that they do have a relationship. It's not like that she's been shut out, which I'm glad to hear that. I know that.
I don't believe it, but
Okay.
I don't believe her.
Okay. And she is still maintaining, and I think that this is where this comes from. So she was talking about how when her sister-in-law came on, and she's always said this, that she did not know about it until 2 weeks before it happened, and that they, went and auditioned behind her back, and she never got over that. Even though we did see that it seemed like she was getting along with them better after she got out of prison and after Joe went away. But then once Louis came into the picture, then that totally changed. But again, I don't think that is her. I don't think that she is the brightest bulb.
It's totally Louis. He totally influenced her.
Right. But I just feel sorry for her. This is what I'm going to say. I feel sorry for her. I do, because I don't think that she's this villain that the Melissa fans think she is. I don't think she's a villain. I just think that she is, one, not that bright, and she hasn't learned from her mistakes. And I think that she really was hurt when her family came on this show behind her back. I think that really affected her. And she doesn't know how to let it go because she holds a grudge, just like her father did against the cousins, just like her father did against Kathy Wakili and Rosie's mom. Like they didn't get along. They stopped talking. Like, I think that's how she grew up. Like,
I totally agree with you. I don't want to be disrespectful to her father because he's deceased, and her mother, but she was absolutely 100% raised like that.
Right.
But what's interesting is that Kathy's mother is not like that.
Right.
And that was her brother.
Right.
Listen, I agree with you. I mean, I don't feel bad for her. I understand why you do and other people do. I don't feel bad for her because you were led down a path once, went to federal prison for it. You're being led down that path again. Come on. Open your eyes.
Yeah. And that's another thing that she talks about. She talks about the prison thing. She and this, when she said this, you probably won't believe it, but I was shocked to hear this. So the reason that she went to prison is because she signed the loan document, but she was the last one to sign that loan document. It was her, Joe, and their business partner that all signed the document. And they kept asking her to sign it and asking her to sign it. And she just wasn't signing it. And then one day she just said, all right, I'll sign it. And that's the document that was the fraud that led to all the charges. And what she thinks happens, I mean, I know she's blamed it on Caroline and she's blamed it on everybody, but what she thinks happened, and I do think that this is what happened, the business partner flipped on them. Because the business partner, who was also on the same loan document, never went to jail. And her husband did.
Went to jail. I believe the biggest reason they went to jail is because of bankruptcy fraud. Remember when they were claiming bankruptcy and they were trying to sell everything?
Yeah.
They were also trying to hide things. And you will go to prison for that, especially at that high debt level. I believe that was the main reason they went to prison. And their business partner had nothing to do with that. That guy was not in a bankruptcy.
He wasn't in a bankruptcy, but I thought the reason that they went to prison too is because they signed loan documents saying that their income was other than what it was, and they were defaulting on those loans. And he was on those.
You can't go to prison for saying you make more money than...
It's fraud. No, that's fraud. It's fraud. If you lie on a loan document, if you lie on an application, that's absolutely fraud. You absolutely can go to jail for that.
I believe the reason they went to jail had more to do with the bankruptcy fraud and what they were trying to hide during their bankruptcy. I've talked to my boss about it because he knew his sister is a huge Housewives fan. So when I didn't work for him yet, but when this was going on, she was telling him about it.
Okay,
we've talked about it. That's the way I understood it.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I feel bad for her that, Joe did get deported because not for her so much, but for her
I don't
kids.
think anybody foresaw that. Like, I don't
No,
think
no,
anybody saw that coming.
right.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that was outrageous that he got deported over that. I understand it's a legality, but come on. I mean, the appeal after appeal after appeal, how much money she spent, and I give her credit for that. She tried. That was outrageous. They should, I mean, come on, let the man back in the country.
I
Let him
know.
do it the right way. Let him do it the right way. Let him come into the country, get a real job, prove it.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Prove himself. Because at this point, he will. Let's face it. He's not,
Yeah.
you know.
And she did say she is paying for all the girls' college. She's not contributing. She is paying
Probably
for
can't.
everything.
I'm
Right,
sure she's giving him money.
right. Melania was in the Bahamas for Thanksgiving because she went to go visit her dad. Listen, I listened to the interview and I saw a different side of her. That's all I'm saying.
I have a hard time believing anything that comes out of her mouth, especially while she's still with Louis. Quite honestly,
Yeah.
I just do. I feel bad. I agree with her that the way Joe and Melissa came on the show was shady. But isn't that more Bravo's fault than anybody's? Bravo did that to you. Not,
Yeah, but
I
this is
mean,
your
well, I guess
blood.
Joe and Melissa did too. But
This is your blood, you know? That's your
yeah,
blood.
no, I agree. And I've said it before. That fight at the christening, Joe Gorga initiated that 100%. He started that fight. He got it to the point where it became physical. I do believe that. But at this point, for crying out loud, it's been almost 15 years and you were at a good place with them until this fucking guy came into your life and he got in your ear and he started spinning. And honestly, I feel like Joe Gorga, maybe not Melissa. I mean, I feel like Melissa has too, but people will argue it and that's okay. But
Right.
I believe that Joe Gorga has proven over the past however many years they've been on the show that he is a good brother, he loves his sister, and he does want peace with her. Not now because of Louis, but I
Right.
feel like in the past he's at least proven that.
I agree with that. She's also said that that her and her brother will never reconcile. And
They probably won't.
I find that to be, I think that they will, because I think Louis not going to be in the picture. I don't.
That's what I hope happens. I hope that, whatever's going to happen to Louis, whatever Louis's fate is, happens quick and he gets out of her life and then hopefully she and Joe can reconcile. But I do think that there's a lot of envy there with Melissa. I think that probably, but way before the show, I'm sure that Teresa was not an easy person to get along with as a sister-in-law.
I could see that. I mean, I can definitely see that. I just also think she surrounds herself with the wrong people.
Absolutely. She surrounds herself with yes people who are just going to yes her to death and tell her that
Right.
she's always right, for
Right.
sure.
And I don't think that, that serves her because she honestly, like I said, is not that bright. She needs someone who's really going to guide her in the right way. And I don't think she's ever had that. I don't.
She surrounds herself with those people. She can't handle it when somebody tells her she's wrong.
Or they see that she is vulnerable. And those are the kind of people that, take advantage of her.
Even
And when
when
I'm talking
Andy tries
about,
to say something to her about her maybe being wrong, she doesn't receive it.
yeah,
I don't know if that's narcissism. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is.
I don't think she's a narcissist. I really don't think she is. I don't. I don't. I mean, she's definitely
cannot
not.
admit she's wrong ever.
I mean, that's different, especially when you see like she is a good mom. She's.
Absolutely.
I don't think you could be the mom that she is and be a narcissist. You just can't be. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
she is an awesome mom. I
Yeah.
think that, again, I know you're not a big fan of Gia's, but I think that her daughters are, they're going to college, I think that they're going to be okay. And I
I
think
think her
that
daughters will be fine. Yeah.
I think that she is there for them 100%. Like I watched them. I follow Melania. I like watching her and her mom, play together and do fun things. I follow, I just saw Gabriella was home and they were making pinoli cookies. I thought was hysterical. But that's what I've always said to you. I like to see the family interactions. I like to see, her get along with her kids. I would have loved to see her get along with Joe and Melissa, but it's not going to happen. Not right now. So we'll wait and see what happens. I mean,
Yeah, listen, I said it before. How amazing would it be if Bravo could get these two, Joe and Teresa, in a better way? I mean, they'd have to leave Louis out of it. And I don't know if she would agree to that and get
right.
rid of slimy ass attorney. That's
Yes,
another thing she's got to do. She's got to lose
absolutely.
Louis and James Leonard.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. And I
That I
think
agree
that
with you
would be
on.
amazing. Listen, Bravo, do a show about that. Like, do that show. Forget everybody else for now. Sorry,
Yeah.
ladies. But do a show. How many people would tune in to watch a show that tried to mediate Teresa and Joe Gorga getting back in a good place? Any Bravo fan, whether you're on Melissa's side or Teresa's side, you're going to watch that show.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, that she earns a place as a queen of housewives because of how long she's been there, what she's done, what part of her, I think that she's done a lot on TV. I really do. I think that she's given up a lot. I think a lot of it was based on her own stupidity, but I think that, that earns a place in Bravo history. I do.
Well, I don't like it because I don't like her, but she's got it. She's got the place. I'll never call her a queen because I don't think I don't think she's a very nice person. So I can't call somebody I don't think is a nice person a queen, but she's definitely made her mark on Bravo. That's for sure. Everybody knows who she is. I'll give her that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
All right. That's it for now.
let's end it.
Listen, if you guys could give us some 5-star reviews, I would really appreciate that.
And check out our
Thank
website, www.wewinewhenever.com.
That's it. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.